I want to just review all these exponent rules. As I've stated before, it's actually pretty important to memorize these. They're really useful. They come up a lot, and they are going to match logarithm rules if you go on and do college algebra. So they're definitely worth looking at. So the first one on this list, and this is a list I've posted in the course shell if you just want a nice list of the rules, is the definition of an exponent, which is that whatever that n is, I'm not sure why this doesn't say n times, we'll add it, okay? N times, so a times a, n times, however n is. It's just telling you how many times to multiply that base by itself. So this is 3 to the third, 3 times 3 times 3, which is 27, okay? The product rule, you'll notice on the product rule that I have two matching bases, and then I have two different exponents, and they could be the same. Doesn't matter what that m and n are. Then I add them together. So the product rule, two bases, I add them. Now the difference between this and down here, the power rule, is that this has two bases, this has one. So this one with one, you multiply, okay? This one, which is farther apart, you're going to add because I have two bases. Negative exponent rule says that if it's negative, I just move to the denominator. That also works. If I have a negative in the denominator, I'd move it to the top, and it's a positive. The quotient rule, I subtract. Order does matter. Subtract top from bottom. If there was negatives in there, I would include them. I could obviously apply the negative exponent rule first, but I usually just work with the negatives. But you'll notice this again has two bases. They do have to match. Then the zero exponent rule, which is anything to 0, is 1, okay? Then this one here, you can see I have two things in here. So I have a product, so this could be 2x, xy, one exponent. This is saying I can divvy them back up. I can, take them apart if I want, which often can be useful depending on what you're doing. Because sometimes, especially if A, or B, whatever, is a number, I can often actually calculate that number and get rid of that piece of it. And the first thing also works for a quotient to a power, which is I can distribute it back up there. And this, of course, works in reverse. If I had this answer, I can go to this one, and these are reversible. And so sometimes it's worth doing that, just depending on what you want to do. For instance, you can use this to turn maybe something into something that matches. If I have a 4, I could rewrite that as 2 to the 2 inside something. Maybe that makes it mean I can do something else. So there are some good options for you in comboing these rules.